Alright, we will be tearing down a 1984 Honda XL350, and we're going to start by pulling the head off, the head cover, then we'll do the head, cylinder, we'll do the clutch cover, kickstarter, Magneto, generator, flywheel, that assembly there. So then we'll end up splitting the case. So the first thing we're going to do is take all the bolts out of the head, quite a few 8mm and a couple 10mm. A couple of them are a little more challenging to get down, clear down inside of there, so just be careful. This one here runs all the way through, so there's a nut on the bottom of it that runs beneath the head, and I think that's the only one like that. So just make sure you're being careful when that one gets removed. This is a decompression cable here, and that runs down to the lower part by the kickstarter there. It engages the decompression. Basically kicks a valve down so it's not as hard to kick. That's a longer 10mm headed nut, bolt there. And let's see, I think that's all. We'll pull this 12mm down by this mount here. Got a 10mm over here. And we should be getting close. These are 12 or 24mm caps, and these won't have to be removed to remove the head. This is the valve inspect or the valve adjust caps right here, but those can actually stay on. So all these are loose. We got a 10mm over here. And then the head is ready to go. That head cover is ready to pop off here. Now what I do is take a hammer and I'll just tap on the mount. And if all of them are out, it should, oh, we forgot a couple there. So you will have to pull these caps. To remove these two 8mm kind of beneath the caps there. There we go. That loosens right up. So that's what was holding us up there, those two caps. We've got an oil line that runs down here, 10mm. And that actually, this one holds that bottom hose on as well. We're going to loosen that hose now. Take that off of there. Put these caps back on. This head cover should be ready to come off now. Make sure all the bolts are completely out before you put too much pressure on it. That way you're not damaging threads. Take this cable out of here. And there's your cam there. Here's your tensioner here. Pull that out. It's just an O-ring to seal that. So make sure you get that pulled out. See if we can lift this up out of here. There we go, there's your tensioner there. So that's your tensioner, it pushes against your cam chain guide down here. And it's spring loaded there. Always putting pressure on that cam chain. Now your cam chain is loose, we can slide it off, pull that cam right out of there. And then we'll just let this, well, we'll take and put a screwdriver through here just to hold that cam chain from falling down. We are going to pull this intake boot off here. Three 10mm bolts. And these clamps will kind of get in the way from doing that. All right. There's your intake manifold, and these have a tendency of cracking. This one looks to be in good shape. Just from the heating and the cooling, they tend to do that. So, all right, we've got a couple 12mm that we need to pull before we can pull that head off. There's one down here by the spark plug. And that might be it for bolts holding that head on. Now when you pull the head, make sure you don't damage fins. I like to go in a spot where there's some support underneath of those fins. Feels pretty solid yet. Just want to verify all the bolts are out. Sometimes it's just stuck on there. The 84 is a couple years old, so if this head's never been off, it's gonna be well sealed. Make sure if you're using a hammer or something, you don't damage a spot. I wonder if there's a bolt under this. This is all gasket surface area here, so make sure that if you're tapping anywhere or prying anywhere, you don't damage that. And this almost looks like a cap, maybe a bolt or something. Yep, there we go there. So you got a 12mm bolt underneath there, and that is what's holding this up. There we go, and it slides right off. So make sure you don't do what I did. Blindly go into it and there's your cylinder head there. You've got your exhaust valves here, you've got your intake valves there. All the valves look good from the underneath side. We've got your other guide here. And got this guide that we'll have to pull down farther to get that guide out. So we'll remove these cylinder bolts. Then we got two 8mm on the side here, the cam chain side. And these we might have to use a, we'll have to use a wrench to get those off. These are all torqued down. Head is off, cam is out, cam chain tensioner is out. We're about ready to pull this cylinder here. We've got a couple 8mm bolts on the side here. That piston looks to be in good shape. We'll check cylinder, make sure it's not out of round, make sure there's no scoring. Doesn't look like there's any scoring. Looks in really good condition. These are your cylinder bolts here. And your cylinder's ready to come off. So again, make sure you don't damage a fin pulling this off. This is really stuck on here. What I might do is spray some WD-40 down in these holes here and see if we can get that to loosen up. We'll go ahead and pull this. Stator cover here, gear shifter. Splines are a little chewed up on here, so this shifter will just go in the trash. There's no use trying to save one that's going to cause more problems. So Allen's all the way around this cover here. the stator cover will get ready to pull off here. Do this. We'll take and I like to put a little pressure on the cover, and it doesn't have to be much. You can even just grab this wire here or grab behind here. Just put pressure on it and then tap a couple different places around the cover. That'll break that seal. And if you grab a little bit bigger screwdriver, that way you're not damaging the gasket area. Don't want to pry too hard and damage any gasket area. So if it's not coming, don't force it. Just got to tap on it a little bit more and it'll loosen up. Now there's going to be, this is a magnet in behind here, so there's going to be some pull against you. So expect that, but don't damage it when you're prying it open. Sometimes you just got to kind of walk it out of there. And try not to damage the gasket area. But after these have been sitting so long, sometimes they can get really stuck. This one seems to be having some problems. Probably a dowel pin right here. If those get rusty, a lot of times those are a little more challenging to get apart. Yeah, that's looks like what it was. There's a dowel pin. And once we get this off here, we can see a little bit better, but it gets rusty and then hard to get out of there. So that's what was holding us up right there. So we've got your flywheel here. We'll go ahead and pull that. Here's your stator on this side of the cover. Flywheel's in great shape. So you can see the marks here, the timing marks on the flywheel that you line up when you're adjusting valves, which we did on another video of mine. So we'll go ahead and pull this flywheel.